brakes are supposed to be coming in right over here, from what I can tell. I have everything else hooked up, but I can't find that plug. Okay, we're gonna be installing a temperature gauge and the oil pressure gauge on the truck. The old ones, both of them, actually broke. So I went and got new ones. They were like 25 bucks a piece, 25 bucks at Napa. Black, match the theme. It's great and should work out really good. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. It comes with a kit. This is actually out of the engine block itself. I actually didn't know when I pulled it out what I would be needing, but this is already in your block. This piece comes in this kit right here. This did as well, but that won't fit, so no worries there. Maybe yours needs that. It's a universal kit, so. But this will be going on. Where'd that hose go? Right here. So it'll be going on this, and you just put the flanges, forget what those are called at the second, in the end there, and then tighten those on to this end, and then to the gauge end as well here. So I did silicone that. All right, just did some high temp silicone, seal that up real nicely. Then we'll get that installed down by the oil filter. I'll put some high temp silicone on that as well. Make sure there's no leaks, and then let that, as that's drying, I'll start connecting these lines and feed them to where I want them to go. Okay, looking at the oil pan here. Here's the oil filter, and the pressure gauge goes right there. So right in these areas right here. Whoa, right there. So we're gonna thread that in there. First gotta put some silicone on that. 1 sec. All right, got some silicone on that. And to me, it doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to seal it. So we're gonna get that threaded in there. I think it was leaking a little bit of oil out of this, so I wanna make sure that the silicone, there's enough silicone to seal that up. But I'll get some pliers, twist that just a little bit more so it's sticking straight up. Go another quarter turn or so with it. A little bit more, and then make sure it's nice and tight. And as that's drying, I'll hook up the hose. I'll show you where I feed that through. I should have inspected this hose a little bit better. So it actually has a kink in it. There's one there. And let me get it here. Right there. Just unwinding and it's right there. So what I'm gonna do is trash that hose. I'm gonna use the old one because the only thing, like everything was good, it was long enough, all of that. I'm just gonna cut off this end here and then use these new fittings on this hose. Let's do this. Making some parts. All right, so how you want to add this on here is you're gonna you got to put this nut on here first, and then we're putting this flange on like so. The reason being is because as it gets tighter and tighter, it pinches this and seals it. So obviously it shouldn't be too pinched, but nonetheless, that's what it's gonna do. That's how it seals it up, keeps that tight. Just remember the key with this is to get it in as parallel as possible, right? So it's not gonna be all bent and twisted and whatnot. You wanna get it in there as straight on as possible, so it doesn't kink it inside the connection. Oh. This is where it's gonna go. Seems the most logical. Okay, so there's the oil pressure sensor. And then I just routed it with this wire, which is the rear harness, I believe, right here. So just had it in, it's right in there. Whoa. So it's just right back in that section right down there, you see there? And then I have it routed. Whoa. And there we go. So and then I have it routed up here and then back in through the firewall right here. Okay, got them mounted. This is obviously hooked up the same way, this side of the hose. And then I have this cable, actually. Have this cable coming in. I was gonna mount it over here, so I actually fit it over the steering wheel, as you can see right back there. The problem was that it wasn't gonna work, so I just routed it under behind the brake, so there's not gonna be any issues back here. And it went up above the wiring to kind of keep that up out of the way of the brake pedal and things, and that just comes out to right here. So from where you drive, at least where I'm at, I'll be able to see them both from about right here. And all the gauges stayed on this side, stayed flush, stayed out of the way of my knees, climbing in and out of the truck. So that is good. This is the vantage point here. So this is a tilt wheel as well. Well, should be. There we go. So there's that, or this position. Let me zoom out, there we go. So you do that, or up here. But this is, if I have it tilted down, then that's actually pretty solid right there. I can see all the gauges and stuff. If it's all the way up, not a big deal. Just lean forward just slightly and can see the oil pressure and stuff. But my knee has plenty of clearance. I'm 6'1", so you know that's plenty of clearance. I mean, I could kind of go out here like this, slouch a little bit if I wanted to. I'd bump it if I came in, but who's riding with their knee next to the steering wheel like this, right? It's usually bringing your foot in, leaning against the door. So those seem to be pretty good, solid spots. We're gonna see how those go tomorrow. I won't be starting this tonight. It'll be tomorrow, because got to let that silicone dry on the thermostat and oil pressure where it connects. So where the thermostat connects is right here. So right here, just have the thermostat, this one, coming routed up here with the oil pressure gauge and stuff, but have that routed, try to keep it off of the engine. And yeah, it's just right there. So had that, just silicone that in, and there you have it. Didn't want it caught on anything or resting on the motor, but yeah, that's where those are. Let me know what you think of the placement of the gauges. If you guys have any tips or whatever. Obviously, I'm not making this like a show truck, especially right now. I'm trying to get to where it's just gonna be legal to drive down the road. I can watch my gauges. I can keep an eye on the motor and things until I get more used to it. Also, I am going to be obviously taking this off-road and adventuring, so I'm not going to put a lot of time and effort into making it look real good. And to tell you honestly, I kind of am digging this like rat rod type look on this truck. So I think it's looking pretty good and coming together nicely. Just got to figure out the brake lights. I don't think I have the hookups or wires for them, so I have to figure out how to get those wired up. Once that's figured out, this thing will be ready to rock and roll. Okay, it is the next day. Ooh, my hair's kind of poofy. All right, it is the next day, and now it is time to see if these gauges work. Speedometer cable works. First off, we gotta make sure the gauges don't leak, at least the oil pressure gauge, right? Don't want that sucker to leak. That would suck. So, need to turn it on, check for leaks. Got paper towels just in case. And then as long as it's not leaking in here, we'll go right down here, check there. All right, let's do this. All right, so let's prime it. Oh yeah, battery cable there. Forgot to connect that battery cable. Let's do that. Okay, now we can. Oh shit! Oh man, that didn't get put back in park. Woo! That was intense. I think there was nothing up there. But hey, no leaks. Wipers are off. That was intense. Boys and girls, make sure it's in park. I don't know why it wasn't in park, but it wasn't. But it is now. I'm glad I didn't go backwards because my nephew's four-wheeler is back here in the garage door. So I'm really glad that didn't go backwards. I would have felt so bad. Oh, let's go. Okay. All right, now let's check these oil pressure gauges. All right, so oil pressure gauge is looking good. Looking pretty snazzy. Let's make sure that it's not leaking down here either. Right up in there. Looking good. Let's check the water. Oh. So luckily it was just this stuff that was up here. Yeah, that scared the crap out of me. Apparently my neutral safety switch doesn't work. So I guess I need to replace that as well. Make sure it can only start in park or neutral. Yeah, that was sketchy. All right, let's go see if the speedometer cable works once this thing's warmed up. Okay. Now's the time to see if it will register. Its turning radius is terrible. Gotta see if I can fix that. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's working. Look at that. Get down on the road. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you can hear me. Really have no idea how fast I'm going, but the speedometer is working, so that's good. Yep, the temp gauge is working. Oil pressure gauge is working. It's fantastic. All right, well, those are tested. They work. It's fantastic. Now I'm gonna go flex seal the holes that are in the floor, just from like the welds melting through, and there's some spots that actually weren't welded, like a big hole in the floor that I showed you earlier. So I'm gonna go flex seal that, and outside of the tachometer and the carpet and the brake lights, interior's done. So a few things, but not much. All right, guys, appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.